Today we are going to talk about something very interesting that almost every human feels at some point in life. It is called psychological dissonance. This is a scientific term used to explain the uncomfortable feeling we get when our thoughts, actions, or beliefs do not match. It is like having two opposite ideas in your mind at the same time, and your brain does not like the conflict. This idea comes from real research done by a famous psychologist named Leon Festinger in the 1950s. He discovered that when people feel this inner conflict, their brain works hard to fix it, even if it means changing their thinking or explaining things away. So what does dissonance look like in everyday life? Imagine you know eating healthy is important, but you eat a big sugary dessert anyway. A part of you says, I want this, but another part says, this is not good for me. That uncomfortable feeling is dissonance. Another example is when someone thinks they are a kind person, but realizes they spoke in a rude way. Their belief and their action do not match, so their mind feels stressed and confused. People do not enjoy this feeling, and they try to reduce it in different ways. Some change their behavior. Some change their thoughts. Some try to justify what they did. Scientists have studied this for many years, and they found that dissonance affects the brain and body. When dissonance is strong, your heart rate can go up, your muscles can tense, and your brain becomes more alert. This is because your mind tries to solve the conflict as fast as possible. The brain likes harmony. It likes things to fit together. When something does not fit, your brain treats it like a small problem that needs fixing. Here's a fun fact. Researchers did an experiment where people were asked to do a boring task and then tell others it was fun. The people who were paid only $1 felt more dissonance than the people who were paid $20. Why? Because $1 was not enough to justify lying. So their brain said, maybe it really was fun, just to reduce the conflict. The people who got more money did not feel as much dissonance because they had a clear reason for their lie. This shows how powerful the mind is when it tries to make sense of our actions. Another fun fact: dissonance can make us like things more. For example, if someone works really hard for something, even if it is not very exciting, their brain says, this must be important because I worked hard for it. That is why people often feel proud of things they struggled with. Their effort has value, and their mind wants to match the feeling with the belief. Dissonance also shows up in social situations. When people join a group, they often change their opinions to match the group's ideas, even if they felt differently at first. They do this to avoid the uncomfortable feeling of being different. Scientists found that humans naturally want to fit in because it makes the mind feel safe and calm. When we disagree with a group we belong to, dissonance increases, and it can be very stressful. Psychological dissonance also helps explain why people sometimes hold on to beliefs even when they see evidence that goes against them. The new information might be uncomfortable, so the mind pushes it away, denies it, or changes the meaning. Not because the person is stubborn, but because the brain is trying to protect itself from the stress of conflict. The brain likes to feel right. When something challenges our beliefs, the brain reacts almost like a small alarm. Another real fact is that dissonance plays a big role in decision-making. After making a choice, especially a big one, people often convince themselves that they chose the best option, even if they were unsure at first. This is called post-decision dissonance. For example, after buying a car, someone might start listing all the good reasons they chose that model, even if they were worried about the price. Their brain wants to feel sure and calm, so it builds a story that matches the choice. The good news is that dissonance is not a bad thing. It is actually a sign that your mind is growing and trying to understand itself. It helps you see your values more clearly. It helps you notice when your actions do not match who you want to be. It pushes you to make choices that feel more honest and real. Dissonance can be uncomfortable, but it is also a tool for change. Scientists also discovered that people who accept their feelings and stay open to new information deal with dissonance better. Instead of fighting the feeling, they listen to it. They ask themselves simple questions like, why does this bother me? What value feels out of place? What can I change to feel more aligned? When you face dissonance with curiosity, it becomes easier to manage. You learn more about yourself, and the stress slowly lowers. Here is another fun fact. Even animals show small signs of dissonance. In some studies, monkeys also showed preference changes after making choices, similar to humans reducing dissonance. This means the process is part of how brains work, not just human brains. Dissonance can also teach us about honesty. When we act in ways that match what we truly believe, our mind feels relaxed and steady. When we act against our values, our mind starts to signal us. Those signals can feel like guilt, confusion, or pressure. Understanding this helps us make healthier choices. It shows us where we need to adjust something inside or outside of ourselves. Scientists say there are 3 main ways people reduce dissonance. First, they change their behavior to match their beliefs. Second, they change their beliefs to match their behavior. Third, they add a new thought that helps them feel better about the situation. For example, if someone smokes but knows it is unhealthy, they may quit. Change behavior. Convince themselves it is not that dangerous. Change belief. Or tell themselves everyone has bad habits. Add new thought. These are all ways the mind tries to find peace. Dissonance also helps explain why people sometimes avoid certain conversations or information. When something challenges our identity or our values, the brain tries to protect us from the discomfort. This is why people sometimes avoid talking about topics that make them feel unsure. But facing these moments can actually help us grow. Another scientific fact is that dissonance appears in the brain's frontal lobe, the part that helps with decision-making, planning, and self-control. Brain scans show this area becomes more active when a person is dealing with conflicting thoughts. This means the brain is literally working harder to make things match. Even kids experience dissonance. When a child knows they should share but chooses not to, they often feel tense or guilty later. This is the mind trying to bring behavior and beliefs back together. Teaching children about this helps them understand their emotions and choices. In everyday life, understanding dissonance can help us become more aware and more balanced. It reminds us to check in with ourselves. When something feels off inside, instead of ignoring it, we can pause and ask, what part of me is not matching right now? This small step brings clarity and calm. Dissonance is not a mistake. It is a guide. It tells us when our actions and values need attention. It helps us see where we have changed, where we want to grow, and where we are not being honest with ourselves. Once we understand this, we can make choices that feel more in line with who we want to be. So the meaning of psychological dissonance is simple. It is the discomfort we feel when our thoughts and actions do not match. It is the brain's way of saying, let's fix this. And the more we learn to listen to that message, the more peaceful and clear our lives can become. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope this helped you see yourself with more clarity, calm, and kindness. If you want to go even deeper, don't forget to grab your free awareness journal. It's a simple guide that helps you breathe, notice your thoughts, and feel more grounded each day. You can find the link below. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss the next story or lesson. See you in the next video.